everyone, Yara here. Today I want to show you how you can get and use ZBrush Core Mini. But first off, what is ZBrush? ZBrush, it's an art tool. It's an all-in-one digital sculpting and painting program. So ZBrush is the flagship and industry standard program for 3D sculpting, which has a free version called ZBrush Core Mini that I'm going to talk about it in this video. So ZBrush Core Mini is designed for new artists with a streamlined interface. So actually it's a simplified version of ZBrush that works best with a graphic tablet such as Wacom Style tablet. So let's get into it. To get ZBrush Core Mini, head to the website maxon.net. I've also included the download link in the description. Then click on Products, ZBrush Core Mini. Now scroll down and click on Download Now. If you don't have an account, you need to make one first by clicking on Register and fill out the form and create your account. Then go back here and enter your email address and click Request Now. If you have an account, just simply enter your email address. Then you'll receive an email with your download link, which you can choose between Mac OS or Windows platforms, and then run through the installation process. Once you finish downloading and installing the program, go ahead and launch the app. This is the ZBrush window containing the elements which I'm going to explain one by one in this video. So let's take a look at the interface. At the very top of the window, we have the title bar, which contains the ZBrush version number and memory usage, and some other information that I'll explain it soon. This is the canvas, which is essentially the space where your 3D objects will live. This is called the top shelf. You can open and save your projects in ZPR file format that is used by 3D printers, or you can save it in GIF or PNG formats. Also here, there are two 3D objects to start your project, a sphere and a block of stone. These are the only primitives available in this simplified version. You can start your project by clicking on any of them. Just make sure to save your project before changing it to other mesh. Here we have a sphere and you can change it to the stone mesh. Then we have symmetry, which you can turn it on and off by hitting X on keyboard. Also, we have two brush settings, brush size. You can decrease or increase the sculpting brush, and the hotkey for that is S. And Z intensity, which is the amount of depth information applied with the current brush. Next is the number of active polygons, which I'll explain it later in this video. And here you have the option to export a 2D image of your model or export it for 3D printing. And also we have this option, Record Turntable, which gives a complete view of your 3D model. And lastly, if you want to upgrade your program to ZBrush Core or ZBrush, you can start from here. Now let's move on to the right shelf. As you can see here, we have three options for navigation. Actually, every 3D program has a different way of navigating a space. So if you're used to any other 3D software, you'll have to get used to a new way of getting around in ZBrush. So let's take a look. The most common navigation is orbiting around your model. That's simply done by clicking and dragging on empty canvas. Now you can look at your model from different angles. This also can be done by clicking and dragging this rotate button here in the right shelf. Now if you want to move or pan the camera around, hold down Alt and then click and drag, which can also be done by clicking and dragging on the Move button. Now for zooming, we have two options. You can either hold down Control and then right click and drag up and down anywhere in the canvas, or hold down Alt and then click, then let go of Alt, but keep your mouse or a stylus clicked and drag up and down to zoom in and out. Also, you can click and drag on Zoom 3D. Also, there are some other navigations that you can use in ZBrush. Let's take a look at them. One thing is that you can hold down Shift, then click on the empty canvas and drag to snap to orthographic views like a perfect front view or every other orthographic angle. Or you can do it by clicking and dragging on this little widget on the top right of the canvas to get different directions. For example, this is the front view, then we have the side view and top view and so on. And the other one is tilting the camera by holding down the Shift key, then click and hold, then release Shift and then drag to tilt the camera. Okay, let's take a look at other options here on the right shelf. This is frame. You can turn it on and off by using the hotkey F on keyboard. So this will essentially zoom in on the model and place it in the center of the canvas. The other option is floor, and you can see there are different axes here, X, Y, and Z, which you can turn them on and off to get different planes. For example, if you hit X, we get a side plane, and Z gives us a back plane, and also we have the Y plane. So we've got these grids to actually help us orient ourselves in 3D space. Next, we have the local transformations. When it's turned off, resizing and rotating are centered upon the object's center, but pressing this button causes these actions to be centered upon the most recent editing point, which is most useful when you're editing a very large model. Also, we have this option, rotate on all axes, which allows us to rotate our model with no constraints. And we also have rotate on y-axis, so when you're moving your mouse or stylus horizontally, will cause rotation only around the model's y-axis. And next is perspective, which simply gives our model a perspective distortion. Last but not least is the polyframe switch, and the hotkey for this is Shift F. If you enable polyframe, you can see wireframe view of your model. So let me zoom in here to explain it a little bit. These are called polygons. As you can see, this polygon have 4 vertices, 4 edges, and 1 face. On this side, we have 3 vertices, 3 edges, and 1 face. So actually, this wireframe is the arrangement of vertices, edges, and faces, which is the actual shell of the model. So this is like a web or mesh that holds everything together. Now let's go back to the top shelf, to active polygons, which essentially gives the total polygon count of your model. And here you can control the number of polygons in your model. So let's say the polygon count of your model is more than 150K. So actually this number is 11K right now. But if you start sculpting, the polygon count will increase. So as you can see, the number of polygons are increasing. If I keep going to more than 150K, for example, and then hit low, ZBrush will decrease the polygon count to 150K. Well, it's actually a bit less than that. And you can also reduce it to 300K or 500K if the polygon count is more than these numbers. And also, we have these information in the title bar. Again, the polygon count and the mesh count, and we only have 1 mesh here. I'm going to hit Ctrl Z to go back. Now let's move on to the left shelf. Here we have a set of different brushes that you can work with. You can use them on a base like this sphere to create your own objects. Also, all of the brushes share the draw size setting. So if you set the draw size to 70, and change your brush to another one, the size will remain at 70. So the first brush here is the standard brush. It's great to establishing shapes and add details to your model. And also we have clay building brush, which is perfect when you want to build up the volume really quickly. And next one is the move brush that simply moves part of your model in dramatic ways. Edge polish is another great brush, especially if you're doing some sort of hard surface modeling, and also allows you to make a flat area with sharper edges. We also have the pinch and the inflate brushes, which are similar but with opposite effects. So the pinch brush pulls the polygons toward the center of the brush, and it's very useful for adding hard edges, but inflate expands geometry by pushing the vertices away from the center of the brush. The other brush is the snake hook. Let's see what happens if we just click and drag on the model. As you can see, it's pulling out the surface of the model, so it's great for horns, branches, and other extrusions. Then we have a /3 brush that carves into the mesh, and it can be great for cracks, for example. Lastly, we have 4 chisel brushes. These are great if you want to add 3D features to your current model. So if you select them, you can see that there are different shapes available. You can simply pick one and click and drag on your model to add the shape. There are also 2 things I would like to add before moving on. First is when you're sculpting with, let's say, the standard brush, if you hold down the Alt key and click and drag, you'll get a negative mesh. And secondly, if you hold down the Shift key, you can smooth things out on your model. Next, we have material section, which you can choose different materials for your base model. The default is madcap gray, but we have also the red wax, gold, and so on. You can also use the color selector to pick different colors for your material. Just simply click and drag to change and select a color. You can see that the model will automatically be updated. Lastly, we have ambient occlusion, and we can determine the intensity here by this slider. Now the question is, what is ambient occlusion? So it's basically a shadowing technique that makes your model more realistic. In other words, it calculates the exposure of ambient lighting on each point and brings it to life, which helps you to quickly see if a portion of your model needs some extra touch. Alright, that was a quick look at how you can get started with ZBrush Core Mini. I will also post a sculpting video using ZBrush Core Mini as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. To see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.